Good day, everybody. Hunts here, and welcome back to Valkyria Chronicles. Sit back, relax, grab a snack, and don't forget to yell at your screen. We are wow, excuse me. Now, we're here today to do a skirmish. We're taking a little bit of a break from our main campaign to get a little bit of experience, but also, I felt this was a perfect opportunity before we get to the end of the game. One, to boost up our forces, but also do a history talk. Our first straight history talk in a video game, because as we've seen, and what the Valkyria Chronicles is an alternative intake, impact, outlook, and look, around those terms, of World War II. And the battles of World War II may affect the tank, the use of the tank. So I want to give a bit of history on tank warfare. And while we give the history and a history talk, we'll do a skirmish.
Let me catch you up on the...
Yep, we already did the clothing words a long time ago. So, yep. We have our starting position, we got attack, that's fine. We'll set everything up and then get into our chats. So, Alicia, take Rosie. And Jane. One more scout. Take Largo. Ramsey. Oscar. And our own. There you go. Oh wow, we get both tanks in this mission. That's gonna be kind of insane.
Commence combat now. Stay sharp.
I didn't expect to have both tanks.
Let's drive these Imperials back out of Gallia. Squad 7, move out.
By the way, I've been watching the Valkyria Chronicles anime. That's actually not a bad show. It's kind of hilarious seeing all the interactions. So we have both the L device and the share mark. That's going to do a lot of work, especially in this area. But we know what to do and how to begin.
My turn, okay?
So we're going up. But tank warfare. Oh, hello.
Enemy sighted.
Now go, tear into them.
Enemy unit spotted.
So tank warfare came about during World War II, so 1913 to 1918. The idea of the tank
Who are these guys?
really came into its own being thanks to trench warfare. And that is why the tanks became so prevalent. Now, they were really terrible tanks in the sense they couldn't do anything
Leave it to me.
except badly its main purpose,
There's a ton of them.
which was to go over the trenches. Because it was a new idea. I mean, the cars itself, which is the tank chassis, came about 10 years beforehand. Nice.
Let's
Whew.
do this.
So that in itself was
Yippee!
very brand new.
Target silenced. Head for the next one.
Enemies. There's a ton of them. There's a ton of them.
The enemy could be hiding anywhere.
Because think, cars came about in 1890s, and now 20 years later, we're in massive World War. Actually, that's the same with aircraft. Aircraft were invented by the Wright brothers and their cohorts, and a few other European individuals around the same amount of time. 1902 to 1910. And then in World War I, 3 years later, there's massive, well, it took about till 1915, but massive bombers flying
ready
overhead.
to
Now,
die,
they were made out of
imps.
wood, and they're not the best in show, but they were very, very useful. Oh, I knew that was going to happen.
Push forward.
Good lord. But aircraft changed how enemies saw each other. Because before you had to go by line of sight. Aircraft allowed you to see beyond their normal eyesight. Even beyond telescopes. You can see distances. You can see over enemy lines and know exactly what you would need to do to combat the future
Here we go.
enemy units you would be facing against.
Enemy sighted.
Out of ammo. It's a miss. Fall back now.
Now.
Ooh, big hit.
Here we go.
Let's do another big hit. Nice. Actually,
We've got
we can actually take it out.
Entering combat. Now.
Oh, there goes that lighting. Nice. Pretty simple. Alright, so aircraft allows you to see over enemy lines, so you can have good intel. But the problem with World War I was technology was so advanced to the Civil War, which was 50 years before, which in the 1860s, where you still had armies going line by line fighting with guns that you might get good accuracy at 100 yards.
Under miner fire.
Maybe 200 if you had rifled guns. But there's no such thing as machine guns. They're just getting into production through the Gatling gun, a massive version of a machine gun. So they're Gatling guns, but
Under miner fire.
they were not commonplace. Later in the 70s and 80s, 1870s, 1880s, you would have the Gatling gun being more prevalent, as is much more lighter, so it could be maneuverable. That was the key, being maneuverable.
Roger, roger.
Alright, so, but
Enemy sighted.
this is still 30 years before the war.
Spots in their defenses.
But, so you still had cannons being the main artillery piece. Excuse me. Heal up the L device. Thank you.
Thank you.
But so you had cannons, you had a line fighting. That's Civil War. We're talking about Civil War here. Nothing beyond that. Just Civil War.
Moving out.
Line by line fighting, grenades, but that was the idea of how war would be fought.
bringing us back.
Nothing beyond that. Skip.
Don't let them break through.
Enemy sighted.
Oh, shiitake mushrooms.
Now.
Fuck. I didn't expect them to be 2 units there.
Nice work. Keep taking them down.
Seriously, I did not
Just
expect
try
that to
to
be 2
stop me.
units.
I could hit you from here.
Requesting back.
Die easy.
Not me in.
Next.
Just keep up this pace.
Alright. So that's Civil War. Line up, fight by fight. 10 to 15 years later, you have more Gatling guns, more maneuverability, but that's the United States fighting against Native Americans, not technologically advanced like European powers, foreign powers, even the American military.
I'll do my best.
But there's still fights going on in Europe, skirmishes, but no big military conquests. Really? Fine.
Come on, hit!
Really? Oscar, come on. That's annoying.
Leave it to me.
That's saying there's no big military conquest going on. Then, 1890s, you have the Spanish-American War.
Don't flinch, soldiers. Break on through.
Well, you have much more automatic weapons, but still, they're on the version of a repeater. So you have a rifle that fires 7 shots before it needs to be reloaded. That's the idea of the gun. Good, that did what I wanted. That actually did what I wanted.
Roger.
Oh, right. Gotcha. What a hassle.
So yeah, Spanish-American War, more versions
Oh, right.
that we would think of as
Gotcha.
automatic weapons. But I'm saying a big but here.
What a hassle.
They weren't actually used
Are we done yet?
in a major conflict. The American-Spanish War was mostly a naval engagement, except for Cuba, but that was still Spanish second-line troops. It wasn't their main military force, because Spain couldn't field their main military force during the Spanish-American War. They were heavily in debt, and they really did not want to get into the major fighting that we would see later on. There's no need for them to get into that kind of fighting.
Just, leave it to me.
Push them back. Where are you? Where'd you go?
Lancers, please keep track of your ammo.
Let's tip the scales in Gallia's favor.
Enemy spotted? Please hit, okay?
Hey, that guy could kill.
Yippee!
Not what I wanted, though. I wanted that scout to be taken out. Fine, whatever. But yeah, so you don't really find big fights going on during the Spanish-American War. You don't see technology. And at this point, oh god, this might have been the dumbest mistake ever. But, oh. Huh. Interesting. But yeah, so no one's really had a major conflict where you have both superior weaponry, tactics, technology being used in a massive campaign. Thus we get into World War I. That's where everything gets thrown in at once. No one knows really how to do these fights. So beginning, they go mano a mano lines shooting each other with machine guns, primitive submachine guns, repeating rifles, grenades, long-range shooting artillery pieces, aircraft, massive portable version of the Gallian gun. This lasts max 2 days. Actually, more like 2 weeks. And then fighting gets halted. Because no one wants to go up against that kind of firepower, man to man, line fighting. Ugh, no one wants that. It was disastrous, destructive. It was a horrid
Just,
night show.
leave it to me. Here I go. Yippee!
Yippee-ki-yay!
Good work. Keep it
Little
up.
lady. Did we just lose sound? No, we did. Cool.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Hope this hits.
Alright, so that lasts about 2 weeks. Now you get a thing called trench warfare. So the idea of forts and fortified lines, that's been there.
Provide the squad some cover fire.
And the trenches is just another version of a fort, or fortified line. the French had that along the German border,
Strike when you see an opening.
that it would cost a million lives just for the Germans to cross it and go into France. Thus, they came up with the Schlieffen Plan, which went into Belgium, invaded Belgium, and went around. Well, we know what happened in that regard. And during World War II, instant victory.
Roger.
Close enough for the Germans. During World War I, however, it was not as successful. Because remember, the idea of the Blitzkrieg, tanks, which were leading in World War II for the Germans,
Best of luck
not
out
a
there.
thing. Not even invented yet. They're a gleam in someone's eye. What? Oh, stop.
Hope this hits.
If that missed, I've been really
Are we
disappointed.
done yet?
But yeah, these things,
Man
well,
down.
the guns we're
Everybody
doing, this is a
careful.
repeating rifle. This would be like the main thing in World War One. A primitive version of that. Same with the machine guns we have, which that is more like a Browning, American Browning. So,
Here we go.
they had trench warfare, and it's brutal and massive. You have two opposing trenches, and then
Hold out a little longer.
in between that would be no man's land, filled with mines, barbed wire, zeroed in artillery piece. So if anyone tried to cross it, they'd have hundreds of artillery firing down them all at once. It was a death trap for anyone who tried to cross it.
Now.
Ooh, we just took out some trees. Sorry, trees. So I said, death traps.
Entering combat.
It takes about 2 years of that fighting where hundreds to thousands of people will die trying to cross the no man's land. But really, gangs of 5, 10, maybe 100 yards a day. Not miles, not feet, nothing more than yards.
Now.
That's insane. So, the tank. The idea of the tank, as you can see, it's treads. It's armored. Thus, it will cross over enemy lines. Easily, idea-wise, it will avoid the trenches, go over the trenches, and take out the barbed wire, the landmines, anything that might slow down or stop a tank. And they're actually
My turn, okay?
not successful. They are built terribly. They can't handle the most basic concepts.
Advance units.
Enemy unit spotted.
Oh, stop. You.
Now!
Like, seriously, come on. Don't fire me.
Man down. Everybody be careful.
They're actually pretty bad. But it took a short amount of time for them to become useful.
Get ready to die, imps.
And they will lead the way in breaking trench warfare. First, you have the mobile corpse, which you'll have a tank leading the charge, breaking up enemy formations, and then the infantry will come back behind. And it proved successful. The Allies, the Americans, were the first one to create the tank, which gets copied quickly by the French and the British, because unlike World War II, the French are still in this fight. They will actually not surrender or lose or anything along those lines. Not till the end. But they create hilarious. The idea of a tank is hilarious. The Gallian and Imperial tanks we see. Did he really just turn his butt to me? What? But the Gallian tanks, those look like Sherman, so World War II tanks. Think more box squares or rounded curves. You know what? At this point, I might put up a photo of what one of the tanks look like
Here we go.
during the editing process. If I do, enjoy. It'd be pretty cool, I think. Yeah, so that is what a tank would have looked like in World War II.
Fire.
Oh, there goes the tank.
Man.
Just try to stop me. Found one. Next.
Good. That makes things a bit easier.
Yeah, so those tanks, they changed the way
Get ready
warfare
to die, imps.
in World War One altered. After World War One, when everyone knew how to use technology and came with tactics,
Who are these guys?
trench warfare actually was abandoned. Felt not needed because bombers
Get ready to
would be
die,
more
imps.
prevalent. Shoot you. Yeah, they do damage. Very low level. Hope I get something from this.
Next.
You're doing well. Just keep it up.
Moving out. Enemy sighted.
Gallian unit sighted.
Holy moly.
Who are these guys?
Who are these guys? The Gallians. It's
My
Squad
turn,
7.
okay?
Yeah, so that's
Enemy
how
unit
tanks...
spotted. I'm a weapon. No,
Wait,
a
what?
shield.
Wait, what?
Gallians at 3 o'clock. Distance 600 meters.
Whew, that's cool.
Keep an eye on your rear.
My turn, okay? Don't even think of dodging.
I don't think he was.
Lost.
Yeah. So what we're seeing, how the tanks in Valkyria Chronicles is,
Just try to
it's
stop
World War
me.
II. Oh, oops. Well, that was a waste. Where the idea of the
My turn,
Blitzkrieg
okay?
is paramount. And tanks will lead in World War II the front of any all engagements outside of like
That makes
forest, swamp, territory that you wouldn't think a tank could fit in. But World War One was drastic in changes and pretty
Operation
interesting
complete.
to look
We
at a
took their
historical
base.
aspect of how soldiers, generals adapted to the fast-paced technology that no one saw, no one fought with in any major engagement until World War One broke out. And there's actually, hey, we got an A-ring. Cool. And we got some experience and gold. Nice. Got a lot actually. Nice. Oh, cool. Got a medal. So if you guys have any questions, leave them down below. I'll try and answer as many as I can about World War One military history. If I can answer it. I should be able to. Most likely. Training field. But yeah. So that's a quick history talk while we got some experience. Which I really want to use to get our snipers up. Dang it. Let's try and get them to elite status.
Good work. Okay.
All units aim. No sniper elites. Unless I want to do that mission again, which I don't. Let's purchase some stuff. Ooh. Oh, wow, that's expensive. What about armor? A little bit, but not the worst. Any and all defense is always nice.
Come back.
I hope everyone enjoyed a little history talk while we
Lieutenant Welkin Gunther.
played a little bit of the Valkyria Chronicles.
Of your
Ooh, medals. Magyar Service Medal. Might have been a long time since I've been here. Order of the Holy Lands.
Furthermore,
Thank you, Your Highness.
More weapons, I bet. Yep. So our weapons are actually better than these now.
may your
So thank you, my queen. Or princess. But, yeah. So, anyways, until next time, guys. Oh, I don't want to go here. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves. Next episode, we will get actually into the
Welcome, Lieutenant.
fights. Let's not click again. But, yeah. Till then, thanks, everybody. Later, alligators.
On your way
Love
back
you
to
all.
base, may your allegiance to Gallia stand